Hi there, I'm Lexi, and as it says on my channel, I'm new to candle making. I had never done this before, and I'm not generally a super crafty person, but this was intriguing to me, and it seemed like something that I could maybe dip my toes into and get started on. So today I wanted to make a video showing you basically a lot of my mistakes. I have made a good number of candles now, but none of them have been perfect yet or like up to the standard that I would really want them to be. So I'm going to show you some of these candles, what's wrong with them, and how I am trying to get better at preventing this in the future or just fixing it in the future. And then at the end of the video, I'll also have a clip of me working on this for some of the candles that I've recently made. So first, this one, you can see all around this edge here how it just isn't a smooth line. Like, it shouldn't have any of this here. So you can see that. It's because when it's in the candle holder, it's like this when it's in the mold. And I heard about using a heat gun to make the flat surface, which I've been working on. So I did that, but then in a mold, it starts to melt down as well as it heats up. And so then you get this irregular line here. So this one ended up having a flat bottom, which I want, but it did end up having this because of how I used the heat gun. So then on other candles, I ended up heating like all the way down so that it would evenly distribute, which worked out, but I then read more and found out that that can cause it to burn unevenly and basically just tunnel down the candle instead of like burning evenly across the candle and taking it down evenly. So I then kept trying to use the heat gun and kept finding the same issue. Some other issues I've had, there are a few examples of this. You can tell like the way my finger goes in, it's super caved in and it like leaves this little spot here. These are things I maybe could have fixed had I left the wick before cutting it, but I didn't know how to fix it in the past, so I just finished off the candle, but now it's unsellable because I have left it caved in like this. So same thing, just because of how it sits, it caves in as it dries, but I didn't flatten the top on this one. I don't think I had gotten my heat gun yet or really learned how to fix that. And then same thing with a couple of these ones. This one caves in, not quite as bad, but I cut the wick too soon to really fix it. And then this one also caves in, probably the worst of all of them. So this is all pre-heat gun, so I hadn't tried like evening the surface out yet. I just didn't know how to fix it and just left it essentially like this, but we're learning. So then I have some other ones that have, you can see the line here and they kind of look like different colors almost, like it looks more translucent here and more solid white right here, and it still also dips in. This is due to, I'm kind of using a book to learn different techniques of like different types of candles you can make, and I'm really working on the molds right now. So this one, the book says that when it dries, it will cave in. So then you just pour a little more extra wax on top. You like reheat it and melt it, pour it on top until it's even. The problem is I have found that it leaves this ring, which I really don't like. And I haven't found a way to like re-pour and end up making it look good. Another example of this is this candle that I made in a holder. It also has a ring. So I poured on top for this one, so that's what you see there. But then I also used the heat gun, and so it flattened out the top, But what happens when you burn it, because I have another one that I tried burning, is it does do that tunneling where it only burns around where this one is and it doesn't reach out to these edges. So it burns just that lighter circle, but it doesn't burn like this outer part of the candle. So it gave it a flat top, but it didn't end up letting it burn evenly like I was saying. And there are ways to make it burn evenly. Doing that with a candle in a holder, you just don't do the pouring on top is what I'm assuming, and I will try that another day. This is just another example of me having poured on top. You can see that little discoloration from there to there. And I use the heat gun so it's a flatter surface, but then you also can see all of this irregularity in here. So those are just examples of like, I've been trying to really fine tune it and be able to get a beautiful candle from a mold that doesn't have any of those irregularities on the outside, but I also am trying to get the flat top, and a heat gun was all I really knew about until recently. I heard, or I read online that you can take a frying pan and heat it up with some tin foil lined in there, and you can just like slowly, like in circular motions, put the bottom of the candle on there so it should melt it evenly and flat. So that's what I'm gonna try with these two candles. They're not gonna turn out perfect because I did do the re-pour on these and I have used a heat gun on them, so they're not gonna end up being perfect candles, but I'm hoping that it will help like any of this caving in that's happened on them. So that's what I'm gonna show. I hope this helps people who are also having issues with getting a flat bottom candle or a flat top. Molds are proving to be a big learning curve, but this is way better than anything I've started with. So like I said, I'm new to this too. I hope people can come along for this learning journey. I'm not here to say that I have all the answers, but this is just what I'm trying, and hopefully eventually I'll get a really good candle from a mold that burns well and smells beautiful and has no discernible bad qualities on the outside of it. If anyone who's watching this video is an expert or even just a few levels above me on candle making, if you have any insights or any tricks or tips that you've used that have worked really well, please put them in the comments. Help me and other people watching the video, and we can all get better together. So anyway, that's my little view of the bad candles I made and what's been bad with them. And now I'm gonna hop over and try to fix the bottom of these candles.